Hey guys, this is Dr. Bananas bringing you a patch note review early in the morning on wipe day. It is the 10th, it is Thursday, and it has wiped. This is patch 13.5, and I hope you enjoy this reading of the patch notes. So we'll start off here with the Streets of Tarkov expansion is what they're calling this particular patch. Last patch was the Streets patch. Patch before that was the Lightkeeper Lighthouse expansion. Biggest thing that they've kind of added here, and they kind of wanted to bring it front and center, is Kaban, the new Streets boss. Added new boss Kaban. He once had a small legal business in Tarkov, but was not afraid to use criminal methods of money acquisition. After the general evacuation, he remained in the city, and his gang has grown. His size allows him to fire various heavy machine guns without resting the gun. But at the same time, Kaban cannot afford to be mobile and therefore stays in position or moves slowly from point to point during combat. He has a large number of well-armed guards, some of whom are former military men who have organized a strong defense for him. The boss dwells in the area of the car repair shop on Streets of Tarkov. The area is heavily defended. Entrances are fortified with the stationary machine guns and AGS. The paths are mined, and there are snipers on the roof of the car service center. Kaban uses a custom rig to store machine gun boxes, wears body armor under his clothes, and has unquestionable authority among his guards. Scavs nearby help the boss with defense and will engage in combat for Kaban. So again, this is the new Streets boss. He is going to be over by Lexos, I think is the plan, and he's going to have a heavy machine gun that fires the 54R cartridge. You may know it as the cartridge that's fired out of the Mosin, fired out of the new AVT and SVT, as well as fired out of the new heavy machine guns. Sounds like he's going to have a custom rig, and he's going to have a whole bunch of armor underneath all of his clothes. So, cool stuff. We'll be getting some new armor from him, hopefully. And it sounds like he's going to have a whole bunch of guards with him because he's not going to move that much. I don't know if the bosses are really that mobile. There's very few that, Sanitar's a little bit slippery. Gluhar, I think, moves a little bit. But for the most part, I don't necessarily know if the bosses move that much. Killa and Tagilla move quite a bit. But it sounds like Kaban is going to just kind of find a spot, and then, he's going to try to blow your head off with the heavy MG. But large amount of guards, and some of them are it sounds like some of them are going to have the Raider AI, or at least like stronger AI than what a normal scav would be. And obviously, scavs will come and hang out with him and try to fight you as well. As for the area is heavily defended, and entrances are fortified with stationary machine guns and AGS. That means that they're probably, like, the fact that they added an AGS, that is going to suck. If you have been on Lighthouse and you have seen kind of what the rogues will do with an AGS, especially if you're a bear, it sucks. Basically, that means that entire area of Lexos may be a little bit problematic for the time being whenever the boss is there, or potentially going forward. I don't know if this means that there will always be Kaban guards there manning the AGS and the heavy MG. Normally, they turn down boss spawns at the beginning of wipe, but because he's a new boss, maybe they crank his spawn chance up just so that way people get to see him. I don't necessarily know if he's going to be easy to fight because that area can get pretty hairy just fighting against players. I'm sure cracked out scavs are probably not going to be fun to fight against. The paths being mined, so again, another change. I don't think that area was mined before, as far as I know. So the fact that the area is going to be mined is going to be a little bit problematic if you plan on trying to be in that area and fighting. So you may accidentally run into some mines, similar to how the Lighthouse stuff goes. There's usually some sort of markings around the mines to tell you if you're about to run into something, but who knows? Maybe they didn't do that for this one. The snipers on the roof of the car service center. So there was always kind of snipers on the roof, but maybe they added more. Maybe they spawn more often. Again, custom rig and body armor just means that we're going to have some new level 5 or 6 armor, and hopefully the rig will be pretty big, especially because it's supposed to store machine gun boxes. So it'll be fun to fight, if not a little bit difficult. He's a big old thick boy. So, good luck to those who run into him, and hopefully you guys get out with some fat loot. Kit presets, added the ability to save a gear preset and quickly equip it. Player can name the preset, select the one he wants to equip, see its contents, weight, and compare it to other equipment sets. Screen of the selected equipment set is divided into 2 tabs. Equipment, which will display all available gear slots. Pouches, which display the contents of the rigs, pockets, backpack, and secured container. The selected equipment is assembled from matching items in the player's stash. If the player does not have enough items in the stash to assemble the kit, The missing items can be purchased from merchants / the flea market. After character creation, 15 basic sets of equipment are available to the player. Player can create up to 50 custom gear sets. So this is the gear preset that they kind of teased. This should reduce the time out of raid considerably. At least I think so, especially if you are a more experienced player and you have like a very, very preferred setup and you've got a fairly nasty stash, and I've got like cases and stuff all over the place, and I don't 100% know where all my stuff is stored. Hopefully this will allow me to just press a button, click a button, select a drop down, whatever they were demoing it on Tarkov TV, but hopefully it will give me the ability to get that into raid that much faster, because there's a lot of downtime in this game. There's a lot of downtime kind of just filling around with menus and getting your stuff together. It should reduce the amount of time that it is taking you to kit back up in between raids. It'll be really, really nice for just making sure that you can pull everything you need, right? It would be kind of silly if they made a preset system, but it's like, well, if you don't have all the stuff in your stash already, then you got to go rebuy it through a completely different menu, I think this is a good addition. If you just don't have it, you'll be able to buy it from the merchants and fleet. It works similar to the preset system for gun building. One would hope that would be the kind of base system that they used. Hopefully it works a little bit better. Sometimes the menus and the preset menus work a little bit wonky. This is a new feature, so there will inevitably be some problems here. So don't expect this to be 100% working, but it's a nice addition. And this is definitely a really, really nice way to reduce that time in raid and get you playing, get people churning through raids as quickly as possible and reducing the downtime. Should also reduce the amount of spin up time for a new player. They may not have a lot of gear. They have to think about their gear selection a little bit less and focus on primary mechanics like shooting, moving, getting into raids. Now, unfortunately, this probably means this are probably not going to persist through wipe. Player can create up to 50 custom gear sets. I don't necessarily know if I'm going to have 50 custom gear sets. That seems a bit extreme. You have up to 50 if you need them. Okay, I can see how you could get up to 50 really quickly. Random container spawn. Containers will now spawn at random points. The number of spawn points for containers has increased on all locations. Large wooden crates, some Terra Group crates, large cash registers, and file cabinets will now always spawn at their respective locations. So this is something that I've been really, really looking forward to, actually. This is low-key, I think, one of the better loot changes that especially if it's implemented well. Before, your gun crates and stuff would all spawn in static points. This feature is supposed to randomize those containers. These are gun crates. These are the large, kind of both the flat ones and the large gray ones. These will also affect the small black box, like the small black ones that the Iskras always spawned on, food containers. Primary reason that I'm excited for this one is it means that you may potentially need to visit more POIs. You cannot just hit one concentrated dense loot spot and then that's it. Now you're gonna have to go to different places and try to scrap over the loot, or it breaks up the flow of the map a little bit and forces you to go to places that you may not have necessarily gone, especially because we're not going to know where the spawn points are. So a lot of the quote-unquote normal loot paths that we kind of longer term players have taken, they may not be viable anymore. Sidearm quick swap, this is something that they demoed a little bit. I'm not too excited for it. I almost never use these sidearms, but when the holstered weapon hotkey is pressed twice, key 1 by default, character will swap weapons quicker. This action resumes arm stamina, and if it is insufficient, the weapon equipped in the hands will tremble. Upon training weapon mastery and corresponding with a weapon type skill, the amount of arm stamina consumed on quick swapping will decrease and the speed of action will increase. It sounds like if you don't have enough stamina, then when you pull the gun out, have a little bit of wobble to it. Probably very similar to what it would be like if you had like lost an armor. And obviously it gets better the more that you train the weapon skill, do the weapon mastering. There's probably like a quick swap weapon skill. Oh wait, no, weapon type skill. Okay, that it's just pistols. Cool, I guess. Maybe I'll start using pistols. Talked about it a little bit with my friends that maybe this will give you an incentive to actually carry a sidearm, because before there would be no reason to switch to a sidearm. It's just so slow. You're almost better off reloading. Same thing during a firefight. You're better off doing a quick reload, and you may still be better off doing it at least until you get a higher skill in pistols. This one is new. I didn't know that they were going to do this, but improvements to peaceful behavior of bots. Added routes for looting containers by scavs on the streets of Tarkov location. Barrel of the bot's weapons oscillates up and down during peaceful walking. Peaceful routes of bots now have slight deviations from a straight line between points, mimicking the player's movement. During combat or in case of danger, bots return to ready mode. Reduced reloading speed of low difficulty bots. Bots can no longer rotate instantly. Now to rotate by a significant angle while prone, the bot assumes a sitting position and continues firing. Bots now search corpses and take weapons, rigs, backpacks, whatever contents they like from them. Bot has a backpack and a rig. It will drop the backpack and rig next to the corpse. Contents taken by bots are not refundable by insurance. Bots can share an item with a player playing as a scav by calling out to them. Improved visibility of bots at dusk now corresponds more correctly to the change of light level. Flashlight still gives better visibility at this time of day. Corrected spawn time when playing as a scav on all maps. This one's beefy. So this should mean that scavs are probably, AI scavs will loot containers. So they'll actually have to kill a scav and be like, oh, he was digging through that container. Barrel of the bot's weapons oscillates. So this one's kind of interesting. I'm not 100% sure what this is. It almost sounds like they just have a straight up different animation whenever they're in peaceful walking. And same thing with this peaceful routes of bots now have slight deviations. So it sounds like if they are not kind of on high alert and they're not yelling Slugili at you, then they're going to act a little bit more players and they may wander around a bit more. And of course the ready mode, I think that's just like they're straight up like looking for you. They know that there's shots in place, they're looking for you, they're moving towards the direction of shots. Reduce reloading speed. I don't really 100% know what this is. I assume that means that bots do have some mechanical advantages over you just because of the nature of their bots, aka they cheat. We kind of always known that they have some really, really weird wonkiness and they get like some like wall hacks and stuff, but the reloading speed is weird. I don't know if I've ever really taken note of whether or not a bot is able to fire its gun faster than somebody else, but I guess that's kind of nice though. In case like it's an SKS scav, they can't just insta reload a full SKS mag. This is kind of fun. This is going to be a nice change. So if you have not been killed by an infamous 360 no scope scav, you have not played Tarkov. But basically, there are scavs that once you fired at them, sometimes they'll just whip around instantly and shoot you in the eyes. This has actually happened to me a couple times before I started streaming, and it's definitely killed a number of Tarkov players. Of just like, I don't understand how he just manages to whip around and shoot at me instantly. This happens a lot with the rogues as well. Sometimes they'll take fire and then they'll just whip around like they're like no one's business and clap you instantly. And same thing while prone. Sniper scavs are really bad about this, especially on woods. If you come up behind him after coming up the sniper scav mountain, you'll see the bot kind of proned out on top of sniper rock, and you'll shoot at him and he'll instantly whip around, and it's very, very annoying. Even if they're proned out, they will not stay prone. They will kind of go to a full crouch and then turn around. That at least increases the profile for you to be able to fire back, right? Instead of them just 360 no scoping you while they're laying out on the ground. This change here for the searching corpses, take weapons and rigs, backpacks, whatever contents they like from them, making bots feel more like people. Looks like they are wanting them to loot a bit more. They are wanting them to, there's a big pile of bodies in front of them. There's no reason why a bot would not be able to search those corpses, kit up, and then, okay, now they're super scav. And it's kind of cool that if lot is taken, then they're going to drop that slot and take the one that's on the corpse. This one's going to be hilarious. Contents taken by bots are not refundable by insurance. They potentially can mess up your frauding. This is gonna change some player behavior, because it used to be some of the smaller items like helmets, contacts, masks, weapon parts. Sometimes whenever you're frauding stuff or you're helping somebody fraud their stuff because they died and you need to just drop it all on the ground, you can part the pieces and they're small enough or they'll be hidden underneath the body that players aren't going to be able to take them, because previously the only way that they are going to be able to get them back in insurance is player takes them out of the raid. This actually straight up changes that. If a bot just comes by and starts picking up all your stuff, you're not going to get your stuff back. So we're probably going to have to change up how we fraud our gear, and this sounds like it is specifically targeted at people trying to fraud gear. Bots can share an item with a player playing as a scav by calling out to them. I think they used to talk to you before, but I don't know if they'd ever just give you stuff on our AI with the Santa scav. Santa scav would do where like he'd call out to you and he'd give you an item, kind of beckon towards you, and you'd come sit in front of him. And so that's kind of nice. I wonder if this is, I don't know, obviously they haven't said whether or not this requires scav karma, but who knows? Maybe now there's a reason to be high scav karma because you get free stuff from bots. Improve visibility of bots at dusk. This is kind of nice. Before, it's the silhouettes on bots would be really, really rough, especially on places like Shoreline where there's just not like the sight lines are really, really weird. Same thing with Woods. Sight lines are really weird. And there's a lot of like shadowy parts of the map that bots can be obscured by. So that's kind of nice. Kind of this flashlight still gives better visibility at this time of day, of course. Corrected spawn time when playing as a scav on all maps. I think this means that they are trying to make it so that way you are not spawning on like Lighthouse with 40 minutes left, or streets where you're spawning on the map at 40 minutes to left on the map. Hopefully it should be, you should have a lower time. Maybe we'll see. They said they fixed this before. I didn't really notice any difference. Bot groups. The AI scav group system has been improved. Now a group of scavs that will operate as a team will spawn at a certain chance. They are going to be better organized in combat and are essentially small gangs. So this is cool. And the only thing I can think of is maybe they're going to be more like Raider groups or the Bloodhound groups, where they will actually a little bit closer to players. Like the Bloodhounds really surprised me in their AI behavior, in that some of them straight up acted like players. Like one time I was fighting one on Woods in Scav Village and I thought it was a player. I could have sworn it was a player. They were moving around like a player, weren't pushing too aggressively. They weren't just full sending it at me. One of them peeked me, like did a right lean peek on me and took a couple shots, kind of scared the crap out of me. So this hopefully will make bots a little bit more dynamic and make it so that way they're a little bit, no, you're not getting to the end of the wipe and they're just minor inconveniences. And of course, a group of scavs, I wonder if there's going to be a way for them to denote that they are a group of scavs. Commands to bots. When playing as a scav, new commands bots are available to the player. The chance that a bot will execute a command depends on its reputation with the fence. All commands have a cooldown. Help. When this command is used, all bots with a certain chance. Okay, that's weird. It's kind of a weird way to put that. I think that might just be a translation error. And in a significant radius will go to the player and engage in combat with the enemy on. This seems like just a weird translation from somebody who may not speak native English. Spread out. With a certain chance, the bots in the reasonable radius will take cover and spread out over the area. Yeah, they didn't. I think maybe somebody got really started getting tired whenever they wrote this section. Take cover with a certain chance. With a certain chance. Why does that sound so weird? With a certain chance, the bot next to the player will take the nearest cover. Quiet. With a certain chance, the bots in the reasonable radius will stop talking and start listening. Stop. With a certain chance, the bot next to the player will stop for a short time, look at the player, and then will continue moving. Now the command follow when playing as a scav can not only be given with a gesture, but also with the phrase follow me. So this is kind of nice. Scavs would do this whenever you had a high reputation with fence previously. They would be more amicable to commands. Bosses, same thing with bosses, as you used to be able to do follow me, and sometimes they would follow you. There's videos of people basically like pulling Gluhar or Killa all the way over to places where they're not normally at, and they will gun down players. I'll confess I never tried though. I had 7.15 fence rep last wipe, and I just never tried. I also stopped scavving at the end of the wipe, so it's very possible some of the stuff was doable already. It sounds like it's supposed to be to kind of go in tandem with this bot group thing, is there are now ways to better organize the scavs to potentially take out a PMC, or just, kind of bring them along with you, or just basically warn the scavs, the AI, in case that you think that there's a player, because they don't necessarily respond to the same cues that you do. If the bots don't look like they're responding and you think that there might be a PMC around, you can better chance fighting them with these commands. All commands have a cooldown. I don't know. I wonder if this cooldown is per command or the entirety, like you can give a command every X amount of seconds, right? There's very likely not going to be like any sort of UI element that tells you that there's a cooldown. So, for anybody who's just like, oh, it's going to be like WoW, where I get like 30 seconds before I can tell my mate they can go forward. I don't think I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's just going to be, nope, you're just going to have to keep track of it in your head, because this is Tarkov. The user interface of the trade, quests, and Ragman service screens have been redesigned. They showed this off a little bit. Basic, the trade screens have been, the traders and stuff should have revamped menus. They look nicer. They look nicer. See if I can find a picture and I'll post it up I'll post it up here. You can kind of get an idea of what the trader screens should look like, right? A player can now quickly equip or replace an item with any of the available items in the stash via drop-down menu by clicking on a character slot. This goes into the making it easier for you to get in and out of raid. So this should be a drop-down basically on any of on your character. You know, you'll have like your helmet or your face mask, your contacts, your gun, etc., etc., etc. There should be now a drop down that you can actually click it and it will show what you want to go into that slot. That's what it sounds like. This again should make it easier for you to get into a raid instead of you digging through your stash and all your various cases, kits, rigs, whatever. Now you can just on that character slot, hey, I want an M4. Drop down that menu, find the M4 that you want. Boom, there you go. Same thing with your helmet, same thing with your face mask, same thing with your contacts. Should all be easier for you to do if you have multiples of that particular slot. FPS meter no longer overlaps the raid timer. This is kind of nice. I would pop up the FPS meter every once in a while whenever I was testing performance after a particular change. So that's kind of cool. Double clicking on consumables automatically uses the item. In terms of functionality, double clicking is similar to the use button, the context menu of the item. This is exactly what it says on the TIM. Double click on it, uses it. A lot of items in the game, you had to actually all the items in the game, you had to right click like this and then select what you wanted and then click it. And that right click contextual menu is actually pretty garbage because there's a lot of stuff on there that's not really needed. So now double click on it, right? So if I want to eat something, just double click on it. Perfect. You can turn on tactical device or helmet mounted lights by pressing the H key. You can switch the modes of tactical devices by pressing the control plus H key combination. They finally make this work. It has never worked in my entire time of playing Tarkov. 2,000 hours and 3 wipes. This will be wipe 4. And I've never been able to figure out how to use these helmet mounted things. And I found out maybe a couple months ago that they just straight up don't work. You basically have to take the flashlight off, turn it on, and then put it on. Very, very annoying. So now you can actually use these. I don't necessarily know how often they're going to be used. I can think of very many reasons to use them myself other than just having another source of light on your person. List of available mods for Ops Core helmet rails as well as 6B47 helmet has been expanded. They just, they basically just added more things to be able to put on the helmet rails, probably to coincide with this change now that you can actually use them. While holding the 4 through O hotkeys when using the first aid and other medical supplies, a drop-down list of body parts to treat will now appear. When using the first aid kit, the list shows all of the character's wounds. When using other medical items, only those body parts that can be healed with the item are shown. To activate it, you need to set the hotkey mode to release. So again, this is they tease this a little bit on the Tarkov TV base. It works like the mag system. You press and hold it, and you'll have like a roll through menu using your mouse wheel. I think it is on the mags to find like, hey, my arm hurts. I'm gonna heal my arm first, or oh, I want to heal my chest over my stomach, etc., etc. Should be nice. To activate it, you need to set the hotkey mode to release. This is kind of important because I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of people who are trying to do it initially and they're just spamming the key, and I don't know, because of the way that Tarkov takes double click or double press and hold and stuff like that, may have some problems. But just remember, in order to activate it, you need to set the hotkey mode to release. Hopefully there'll be like a keybind option inside of the menu. Added new images to the load screens. We'll have more cool images now to see. Oh my god, to see inside of the gun stand. A new module weapon stand has been added to the hideout. The stand has 3 levels of pumping. 3 levels of pumping? Each level can hold a certain number of weapons. Level 1, 108 cells. Level 2, 132 cells. Level 3, 182 cells. Only weapons with all critical components can be placed on the shelves of the weapon stand. This is basically this is a second weapon case. This is basically what they said this. It'll be nice. It'll be more places for me to stash all of the crap that I don't plan on using ever. All else fails, you can kind of display your favorite build on the stand. Yeah, only weapons with all critical components can be placed on the shelves of the weapon stand. Take the pistol grip off your gun and put it on there. A quick sale of Scav's gear. A sell equipment button has been added to Scav's gear transfer screen. The player can sell all the equipment he has after extracting as a Scav, including currency that Fence doesn't normally buy. Quick sells all of the stuff. It does sell it to Fence though, so you may get a little bit less, but it gets you out of that menu faster. Improved display of the crafting process. Added animation and a color indication to the icon of the module where the crafting is in progress. Finished craft is now displayed first in the module list. Click on the complete craft counter takes you to the module that has a ready for pickup item. Crafting quality of life changes. Not many people do it. I do it. these are all nice changes. It means that I can click a few less times to make my money. This one especially is now displayed first on the module list. Thank God. Before I used to have to roll all the way down, or once they added the ability to kind of like favorite a craft, I didn't have to roll as far down. But now that the finished craft is the first thing at the top, that should make it a little bit easier for people who craft. Graphics and performance. The visual effect of anesthetic has been changed. New technology of fog rendering has been implemented on Streets of Tarkov. Added a new culling system to the lighthouse location. Improved the culling system on Streets of Tarkov. Increased the accuracy and performance of the system. Optimization of resource consumption by the sound system. So visual effect of anesthetic has been changed. This is the sharpening effect that you would get on whenever you were taking like a morphine or a painkiller, any other type of painkiller. It'll be nice to have. Honestly, this affects streamers the most, because if you guys have not seen on my Tarkov streams, basically when you take a PK, to me, the game looks fine. It would make the stream look like ass. You get a lot of artifacting. It looked really blocky, especially once you were in motion. If you were on woods or any sort of like wooded area, any place with a lot of trees, it would look really, really bad. It didn't look as bad on places like streets, but it was definitely still noticeable that there was like there's just some quality loss. Like the way that our streaming software captures it just doesn't look very good. I think they said that instead of a sharpening effect, now it's just desaturation. So the color will change a little bit. Hopefully it's not that bad. New technology of fog rendering has been implemented on Streets of Tarkov. So they added fog, I guess. On Streets, I've never actually seen fog. It's definitely been foggy, but I don't know what this new technology of fog rendering. I wonder if it's something different. Culling system. So this is reportedly why Lighthouse runs as badly as it does. So for those of you who don't know, a culling system is if you can't see it, it doesn't render it. And this is on Streets of Tarkov already. And you can kind of see this in certain spots on the map where if you like lean peek a certain way, you can basically see through the entirety of the map. It's actually a little bit cheeky and probably an exploit. I don't want to talk about it too much in case it is. On Lighthouse, the system was not previously in place. And because of how long the map is, one of the reasons it ran like ass is because you'd spawn in, your machine is trying to render the entirety of the map, which is not very, very good for performance. The culling system should reduce that load. It should work better. That means that if you're over by South Road and you are looking at the mountain, you are not trying to render the water treatment plant all the way down at the other end of the map. So if you had previously good performance, it should be better. If it was previously awful performance, hopefully it brings you to a more playable state. Improve the culling system on Streets of Tarkov, increase the accuracy and performance of the system. Again, they're making more additions to the culling system. Now, this culling system is apparently going to be put in place in more places. Streets is just where they're kind of doing it the most because of how large the map is. And obviously, the Lighthouse, they're trying to do it there as well because that's the other kind of very, very performance heavy map. Hopefully, this will make Streets run a little bit better for more people because it is a fun map, and especially because they just did the expansion of the map, so it's gonna be even heavier on your system. So hopefully they fix these culling issues. Run 50 FPS that drops down to 30 whenever I try to play. Is that too much to hope for? Optimization of resource consumption by the sound system. We make Oculus run better. Do not take this as they fixed anything with the sound system. It just means that hopefully it is not eating up resources and they fixed most of the memory leaks. And weapons and equipment, SVT and AVT 40 rifles, AK-12 assault rifle, PKM, PKP light machine guns, Rizzy sawed-off, PM and PB pistols have been updated. SVT and AVT 40, it's a DMR it's basically another DMR for the 54R caliber. AVT 40, I believe this means it's automatic. Gives you more options if you like running the 54R caliber. I personally like it. The SVDS is probably like my go-to DMR. I am not a huge fan. Like I'm okay with the NATO guns. I think the 54R is a superior cartridge. AK-12, this is another AK. I believe this one's chambered in 545. Another AK. Have fun. PKM and PKP light machine guns. More ways to sling 54R. If you really, really like 54R, these will let you go burr with them even faster. I hope they are very heavy though. I am not looking forward to getting killed by a bush camper on woods with a PKM or PKP. Rizzy sawed off. It's a double-barreled shotgun that's sawn off. We saw a little bit of it inside of the Tarkov TV. I don't know if it has some sort of lore significance or if it's just like a little Easter egg that this is like, hey, it's Rizzy sawed off shotgun. Maybe there's a task for it. PM and PB pistols have been updated. I believe they removed the furniture off the pistols and made it look a little bit more modern. I think they're like all black now. New ammo: 300 Blackout CBG, 1270 Piranha, 4.6 by 30 JSPSX, 762 by 39 FMJ, 762 by 39 SP, 762 by 39 PPGZH, 762 by 54 RFMJ, 762 by 54 RHPBT, 762 by 54 RSPBT, 9 by 19 FMJ M882. So this is for the MCX. Piranha, I don't know. 12 by 70, is that that might be one of, I mean, there's definitely a shotgun. I just can't remember which shotgun. Anyway, it's probably a shotgun. I believe this is for that's for the MPX by 39. Sure, I guess. I don't really know why these were added, but sure. I guess we have more intermediary cartridges. 54R, you know, this is the Mosin. These are the Mosin cartridges. We have more intermediary cartridges. I'm sure people are going to be pissed about it. It's like more useless ammo. It depends on what the ammo is, and it's probably to dilute that loot pool a little bit, especially in this 54R, like, because you either get like, it's either a tracer or it's LPS or BT or BS, which like basically if you're not getting a tracer, that particular cartridge hits like a truck, especially early on. And even the tracers hit like trucks. So of course we get some 9mm. Sure. Balance changes. Various balancing changes to the characteristics of the ammo. Oh, hey, we missed one. Added a number of new weapon modifications and equipment models. Sure. Various balancing changes to the characteristics of the ammo. Various balancing of trade changes. Various balancing changes to crafts. All the shit's changed. So ammo, we need to be aware that the ammo that you thought was good may not be good anymore. The ammo you thought was garbage may not be garbage anymore. They did this. They've done this already. Be on the lookout and be aware that there are changes to ammo, pen, and flesh damage. Don't be mad if BP suddenly feels like it's not hitting as hard, because it might not be. Trade changes, I'm assuming this means barters. There's a couple barters that were pretty busted, just abusing those trades, balancing them out a little bit. It's kind of nice. Various balancing changes to crafts. Crafting is my primary way of making money. They could have also added and removed some crafts. Adjusted resizing for the following mods. Balancing changes made to quests. A whole bunch of quests got changed. The changes to Shooter Born in Heaven are kind of interesting. I wonder if they increased the range. Tarkov Shooter Part 8, that's kind of nice. Maybe they removed him from Kappa. I have no idea. It is a short wipe, so it's very possible they might have altered some tasks because they know that it's only a 4-month wipe. Shooting range. Reduced requirements for building a level 1 module. New requirements. Made it easier to build. I'm pretty sure this is easier to build. Yeah, reduced requirements. Definitely way cheaper. This is kind of nice. Like, this is nice for new players. Should be much easier to get everything. Defective wall, new conditions for the module construction. I guess they just made it so that way you can't just like find the sledgehammer. You now have to get med block and water collector. Gym, added new conditions for module construction. Lighting level 2, ventilation level 2. You just need to admit there's just more gates to it. Corrections, fixed the problem of the client hanging after pressing the back button upon reconnect. Fixed incorrect display of players' hands when using the stationary weapons. Fixed bugs causing soft locks when using the underbarrel grenade launchers. Fixed missing sounds of grenade explosion thrown by bot in some cases. Fixed incorrect positions of Zerachi and his guards at the raid start. Fixed a number of visual artifacts in the streets of Tarkov location. Fixed a number of visual artifacts in hideout. Fixed incorrect calculation of target visibility through bushes and trees for bots. Fixed visual artifacts in optics on interchange. Fixed unnatural viewing angle when going in and out of aim with the Berserk perk with the elite skill stress resistance. Fixed errors when using flashlights, IR flashlights, NV, and thermal imagers. Fixed bugs that in some cases cause locations to take longer to load. Fixed the lack of sound when firing the RSP-30. Fixed lack of container looting sound in third person. I don't know what most of these are. I don't know if I've ever actually hit a whole lot of these, to be honest with you. I think I've hit the visual artifacts. That's whatever. Fixed bugs that in some cases cause locations to take longer to load. Maybe that might explain why there's like, you have like hangups whenever trying to load into a map. I'm pretty sure this is the reconnect bug where it just sits there if you at like the lobby screen basically whenever you try to reconnect. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, these are bugs and bug fixes. This is what I like. I like to see this. I wish this was bigger, to be honest with you. The stash upgrade obtained as a reward for the quest, the Terra Group Trail for ranking season prize will occur during August. All in all, pretty good patch. Good notes. I mean, it seems like they tried their best to include a bunch of stuff, other than a couple of weird translation things. It seems fine. A lot of quality of life stuff, a lot of really neat content, like a lot of really just neat changes that should make it easier for new players to get into the game and should make it easier for veteran players to have an easier time getting through their painful new wipe experience. I'm very excited about this. This seems kind of neat. I think it'll be cool to see what changes they made to these tasks. Normally, you can look at logical solutions to see what those changes might be, but I believe since the debacle with him getting banned, he has reined back quite a bit on data mining. So I don't know if maybe he might be working with BSG a little bit closer to see what he's allowed to release and what he's allowed to disclose. But at the very least, I would expect some of these changes and stuff to be disclosed later on as people find out more stuff. I hope you enjoyed this kind of patch note recap. This is a good way for you to get the patch notes kind of read to you, especially if you're at work right now or going to be at work whenever the wipe hits. I know it is Thursday, so most of you are probably working. Nobody really knew when the wipe was going to be. Hopefully, me reading these patch notes to you gives you something to kind of listen to. I also gave a little bit of my thoughts. So please take these patch notes as just grains of salt. Sometimes there's translation issues in here. Sometimes they don't 100% fix something that they thought was fixed before they pushed code to prod. Be mindful of that. There is 100% going to be changes that were not included in these patch notes, by the way. They don't always disclose all of the stuff that they do inside of patch notes. So be aware of that. Changes means that they're paying attention. They're trying to keep the game fresh and they're trying to improve what they see as the vision for the game. So I hope you've enjoyed this little kind of patch note reading. Like, subscribe, do whatever, come hang out in streams. I really hope that you guys have a good day for the Tarkov wipe.